Hi, this is Jose of Joy of Fish Keeping. In this video, I want to talk about preserving a fish on resin. This is a YouTube fish keeping channel. So if you are somebody who's looking for more of a specialty resin work, this is probably not the place, but this was an interesting project for me. These three discs that we're looking at, they are 5.5 to 6 inches. They're currently in quarantine at this point in time, close to 3 weeks. I generally would quarantine fish about 6 weeks. Make sure that they don't bring or harbor any kind of parasites or bacteria that can be transferred to the other inhabitants of the other tank. So one of the things that happened was behind the red, there is a yellow fish there that suddenly just passed the no warning of any inactivity. He just kind of did a few dart move and then suddenly he just went to the ground and fell. So I went ahead and started preparing the resin. I prepare enough resin, about half of the mold, waited a little bit and then added more resin a little bit later. The resin produces a lot of heat, and between layers you should wait according to whatever type you get, following their instructions. You should wait sometimes a number of hours in hardening until the heat it is no longer there, so you can add the other layer. And because when you add too many thick layers, it does produce a lot of heat. And what happened with this particular fish was that other than trying to float up to the top, I was trying to hold it down until they hardened a little bit so that it wouldn't float up to the top. This also produced a lot of bubbles, and the thing was kind of almost literally cooking. So there was a lot of bubbling coming, I guess, from the moisture from the fish and everything else. So basically it was a disaster, and this is what it looked like. So it did not work. So a little bit later, a day or two later, the red one that you see here started going through some motion. As you see, he is kind of floating around here, was not keeping up with the current. He was breathing for a while, but it was kind of a slower process that he went through his final moments until finally he just rested on a corner and kind of passed. So knowing what had happened before with the moisture and everything else, once I took him out, I just allowed him to air dry for about 3 or 4 days until I got the resin. And what I decided to do at this point was just to do a thinner layer. Once the layer had hardened a little bit, this particular, I got a different one only because it was, the other one was more like a kit that included other coloring and stuff that I did not need. So I ordered this. I think it was about roughly $20 for the hardener and the resin, for I think 32 ounce each bottle. So I would say there's still quite a bit left after I completed it. So I did a thin layer, maybe about a quarter of the mold, waited probably about, you get about a 40-minute working time with this particular one. So I waited a little bit and then just set the fish there. I waited actually a few hours until there was less heat on the mold. I had a fan running, an extractor fan in the kitchen, and once the thing felt not hot to touch, not too hot, not too warm, then I put the fish there and I put a second thinner layer on top. So it actually did quite well. It takes over 24 hours to fully cure, but by the next morning I was able to take it out of the mold. There were some bubbles that remain. I did try to work out some of the bubbles. I got this blower, which is used for this purpose. You could use a lighter, a bath of water to help the bubbles work out. When you add heat to the area, it allows the bubbles to come up to the surface and burst. Sometimes I also used a toothpick to help some of the bubbles break up and come up to the surface. So overall, the project was not bad at all. I can probably make it a little bit better by polishing it and sanding it, but I think for the first time this was not so bad. It came out pretty nice and preserved well, so I like the outcome of this one. So I'm not looking for any other fish death in the future, but it was something that it was fun doing it. I will be doing other projects in the future. My wife already has some ideas, and my 8-year-old daughter, of course with supervision, will help her do some other projects that could be either insects or other things that will be fun projects for her and for school. So anyway, as I said, this was not I am not an expert at this. This was the first time or the second time. The first one was a failure that I've used resin. It was actually a nice thing to do, and I can keep it in the fish room and probably one of the fish tank, and I can still enjoy it. So the outcome was not too bad, and that was actually on the back side. I used the better side to be as the front, and I just added the resin slowly until I got probably about half of the mold was used. So I did not use a coating as thick as I did on the first one, but the overall outcome was okay. There was a few minor bubbles, and on the back part, since there was an arch part as the fish dried out, there was an area, there was a large bubble behind it, but it didn't come to the surface. So it's strapped on the backside, but I guess considerably that was okay. I saw some videos, somebody did a similar thing with an angelfish that was much smaller than this kind of fish, and he says that quite some time after, there was no signs of any kind of decay on the fish. He used other organic things like eggs, and overall it is preserved well in the resin. So there's no air and no bacteria. I don't think the bacteria survived that well to do that either kind of decomposition. So we'll see long term. I'll probably somewhere down the line I may do an update some months down and see how it looks on the long run. Thank you for watching. I hope that this was fun for you watching. It was fun for me doing it. And if you have any of fish die and they're in good condition, give it a shot. So that's one way of preserving them. My wife has other ideas with this fish. What we're going to do actually is I'm going to cut the bottom corner. When I position the fish, I position so it looked like it was slightly at an incline swimming upwards. But if I cut the corner and stand it so that it's like a diamond shape on its end, it's a flat side so they can sit on, the fish is just swimming straight across. She said that she has an idea. She's going to do this as a self-given trophy for my 1,000 subscriber. Not that it really it was important, I guess, to a point, but it was nothing to make a big deal about it. I was, I think, happier when I made 100 subscribers because I said, who will be watching my videos? But again, there's a little bit of something for everyone in YouTube. I appreciate you stopping by and looking at my videos, and thank you again. I look forward to doing more videos of this kind of things if the opportunity arises. If you have not done so, please subscribe, share, like, and press the notification bell. Thank you for your support and visiting our channel.